Hi, it's me JD and welcome back to my channel. In this video, we will be making DIY teacher cards. Here in the US, the National PTA recognizes 1 week in May as National Teacher Appreciation Week. This year, it happens to be May 4th through May 8th. A handmade note or craft or gift is always a nice gesture to show to our teachers. And while some of us may not be in school, it's important to recognize that our teachers are still working behind the scenes, making sure that our kids stay somewhat on track during these unprecedented times. And it's in challenging times like these that we truly appreciate and understand all of the hard work and sacrifices that our nation's educators give to our children. So if one handwritten note in one handmade card can show an ounce of the appreciation I have for our teachers, then I will make all of the cards they need. With that said, be sure to subscribe and we'll jump right into the first teacher card idea. To help me make these teacher appreciation cards extra special, I've got some fun and really cool dies from Spellbinders. I've already went and die cut some of the pieces beforehand just to save time. These dies are school and education themed, so you can of course use them for teachers or students. This first card idea for Teacher's Day makes a clipboard on a card, and I didn't think it was possible, but it kind of makes like a somewhat movable clipboard. First, I'm going to make my background. I'm going to cut some paper strips out of some rainbow cardstock, and then I'll put adhesive down onto my card front. And then I'll lay these paper strips down in rainbow order. I'm going to put them slightly at an angle so it doesn't have to be 100% perfect. That is always my trick for just not, trying to avoid all points of failure. Basically, if you don't put it on straight or intend for it to be straight, then you don't have to keep it straight. These paper strips are about 1/2 inch wide, and it's a simple and easy way to make a rainbow background that really makes a pop. After I'm done putting my paper strips on there, I'll just go back and just trim off all of that excess with my paper trimmer. This is a great way to use up any of your card scraps, and it's also an easy way to get the kids involved in this process. You could also use your teacher's favorite colors if you know them, or your school colors. I didn't know either of those, and my kid's just in kindergarten, so I just went with rainbow to keep it easy. So the next step in this would be to die cut all of the pieces I need for my clipboard. Here is the sheet of paper that is going to go onto my clipboard. I already cut the clipboard out to save time. And I also cut out some scissors and a pen and pencil as well. What I love about Spellbinders is that they always think of the little details in their die sets. Like this one also comes with a paper clip, which I'll use in another card. You can see like the detail on the pen, like the pen clip. They make sure to have a die for the screw on the scissors. It's just these little details that make these pieces look really realistic. Speaking of these pieces, I cut the clipboard metal part out of some foil cardstock, and I followed the instructions on the back of the die set to help assemble my clipboard. It's basically the back piece for the clipboard, and then this rectangular piece that I folded at the score lines, which forms the middle of my clipboard clipping element, and then the top piece over top. And I'm just going to set this aside and let it dry while I work on putting the entire clipboard onto my card front. Now I'll let the whole thing really dry because I really want to test out that clipboard element, but I don't want it to break yet because I know it's not dry. So I'll just go ahead and adhere all of my die cut sentiment onto that sheet of paper, and then I'll carefully place this under the clipboard, and it works, and it kind of works, as well as a paper clipboard can, and it's moving, and it's a cool die set. This is definitely a card that you would hand deliver or place in a gift bag. I don't know how well it would hold up through the mail. I plan on dropping this off at the local school district, and they'll figure out how to get it to her. Okay, so for a final touch after adding those die cuts, I'm gonna write an A+ in crayon, no less, to finish up this first card. This is another die set that can be used for multiple purposes. This die set creates a backpack. With the first clipboard set, you could create that for an administrator or someone that works in an office. It's just a really cute set. This one I wanted to make extra school focused, so I'm creating my background by stamping this alphabet stamp onto my card front first in some light gray ink. This is more intended from a student to a teacher, so from my kid to my teacher. And I'm going to assemble all of these die cuts. First, the die set has a zipper, and then it has a little zipper pull. Like I said, Spellbinders really goes into the small details that make these die cuts just look so realistic. And that includes this little journal set. And I wish I had, that black and white cardstock that looks like static, because I think everyone in school had that journal growing up. But in my case, I didn't, so I'm just making it out of some teal cardstock. And then I will put all the pieces together, which includes the backpack front pocket, and then the journal, and then these sets of glasses. And what would a DIY Teacher's Day card be without an apple? Next, I will move on to my sentiment, which clearly there's no room on this card front anywhere for sentiment, but I already thought about that. I knew that I was going to put it on the inside flap of my backpack, so when the teacher opens the backpack, she'll see the sentiment on the inside. And so I cut the sentiment out of white cardstock so I can color each individual letter in a rainbow order. Then I stuck all of those on the inside flap. And to help finish up this backpack, this die set also came with some backpack straps and a buckle, which I cut out of that same silver foil cardstock. Now I'm just weaving that strap through the buckle to make it look really, really realistic. Spellbinders, I swear they're always thinking of the little details that make it extra special. Like this could have easily been one piece die with a backpack and the straps like embossed in, but they went the extra mile to give you some 3D looking straps and buckles and zippers and accessories. So I'll just stick some more glue on the back of these straps, not all the way of course, because I don't want the whole thing to be shut completely. And so I just glued up until the buckle part and glued that on top of the backpack flaps. And this card is finished. For this next teacher appreciation card, I wanted it to look like it was from my toddler who goes to a preschool, so he has a preschool teacher. And I have this fun background stamp that stamps, it's called storybook paper design, where it's like the single line, and then the dotted line, then another single line. So it helps kids practice their handwriting, which by the way has come in handy during these times when my printer was not working. And then I've already die cut out a bunch of little crayons, and I wanted to make them look just a tad bit more like my favorite brand of crayons. So I went in with a pen and just added those little details. And then I'll move on to gluing all of these down, of course in rainbow order on the top side and on the bottom side. I wanted to keep all of these cards bright and happy and colorful because that's what our teachers are. Thankfully, we lucked out with some really great teachers that are always just so helpful and so kind and so patient. And our kids always come home with like the best crafts they did at school. And I wanted to just show my appreciation for the creativity that our teachers give to the kids. So next I'm going to go in with my Tombow markers, and I already sketched out what I wanted my sentiment to say. It's just a simple thank you, and I'll go back with the Tombow markers and just trace over that. So it has helped me improve my handwriting too with this storybook paper. I'm just going to adhere some of those other die cut details that I cut out earlier. Then I will put all of these card fronts, once they're nice and dry and set, onto my note cards. I use a tape runner. Usually I use a tape runner if it's a particularly involved or detailed cards with lots of layers, then I use some double-sided tape. but these cards are pretty sturdy, so I'll just put some tape runner on there, and it all should stick well. And I love that little interactive piece of the backpack. It's so cute, and of the clipboard. And this is a nice, simple, but still just happy card for a teacher here. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I want to thank our teachers. You guys are doing your best. I know that. We all see it. And you all absolutely have our support and gratitude.